Is there a way to figure out how to actually put a hashtag up? Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Put a hashtag on anything.
Yeah, how do we spell that though?
Some B's and some W's. Is that a thing?
Man, that was so much.
I can't tell you guys how much fun it was to watch this movie with you. You had so much energy. It made it a really awesome experience for me.
I was going to ask you. I mean, I don't know how many times you've watched the movie. I would imagine a few times.
A few hundred times. And then this has been my favorite screening so far. You guys have the wrestling chants make this movie so fun to watch. The hardest time to watch the movie is when you're watching it on a small computer screen and you're writing down little notes of things to fix when you're fixing all the audio problems and the color correction stuff. But why don't we start a little Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely. Does anybody have any questions? All right, well, I'll go down and I'll work the crowd with the microphone.
Yeah, tag team this stuff.
So all this stuff is I could just see by watching it was just an extension of yourself. But was there ever a time where you had to kind of like distance yourself from the character? Like you kind of like looked at a situation and been like, maybe I'm being like too into it where it's like not going well with the story?
You could never be too into it. Come on. You could always be more into it. I wore a lot of hats during the making of this. Writer, producer, worked on post, action design, and actor. And sometimes it was difficult to separate those things. When as an actor or action designer, I wanted to do as much as possible during the fight scenes. But then the reality of a low-budget film is you don't have as much time as you want to do a fight scene. In that little Mexican bar was our most expensive location, for example. And I think that was like $20,000 days.
Damn.
And I know, right? You gotta pay for the location, then you need a fire marshal, and you need trailers, and you have all the actors there, and then the extras, and you have to feed everybody lunch. It's expensive. So there were times where I had to distance myself from, to compartmentalize myself. Like, as a producer, I would think, like, holy shit, we gotta do this fight scene in 30 minutes. And as the actor and action design guy, I was like, we need 6 hours for this fight scene. So that was difficult sometimes, trying to figure out the best way to maximize the time.
That's something I would hope that you could talk. I don't know if everyone knows the backstory behind the making of the film. I mean, you really did take a chance on yourself, which I think is so. I mean, I always look for ways to find inspiration, and to see someone who's willing to invest in themselves and take a chance is just. I mean, hats off to you. That was unbelievable. And if you could, yeah. So for those that don't know, if you could,
let's give me a round of applause. All right, Steve, I like that.
Hold on, wait. Steve,
pat him on the back. Hey. No, but for Steve too.
Yes.
I've talked about this on a lot of podcasts, on Cabanas, on MVPs, and Stone Colds. Making movies is not easy, and this movie went through about 20 revisions. The first script that I wrote was a $10 million action movie, and I shopped that around, took some meetings, and there was no way a first-time pro wrestler filmmaker was going to get $10 million. So the movie started getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper as time went on. And to cut to the chase of this, I shot a sizzle trailer in 2013, tried to raise money with that, it didn't work. Eventually, 6 months went by and I found someone who would do matching funds if I could front half the money. So to get the first half of the money, I sold the house that I bought with the money that I made during my WWE run. Then that guy, the matching funds guy, said he was sick for a week, and then he had a family emergency, and then he stopped calling me back. So, I know.
Fuck that guy! Fuck that guy! Fuck that guy!
Now we're talking.
I was gonna say that guy's a dick, but I'm with
Stay out of Seattle, bro.
Yeah, he comes to Seattle, we're kicking him in the balls, Boone style.
So I ended up putting the rest of the money that I got from the sale of the house into the production account and to get the project greenlit. And for something like this, I realized if you don't 100% believe in yourself, why would you expect anyone else to? And I'm hoping that this is going to be a proof of concept, that I know how hard it is to make a movie, how to finish a project, and doing screenings like this, actually, it helps a lot because I can see what you guys like, and ultimately, that's the point of entertainment, is to entertain people. So Give it up for your guys.
Any other questions?
Just like to say, for being an Asian guy, I dig it for let the Asian guy get the girl at the end. But like I said, thank you for that.
You know what's ironic? I don't know if you know anything about the Asian guy, Osric Chow. He's a really talented actor from a show called Supernatural. You seen him on there? He's also was on the Canadian national wushu team. So if it came to martial arts, he probably would have whooped my ass also. but probably not in wrestling.
How much fun was it to do all the stunts? I mean, at the end with all the credits, it was crazy to see some of the things that you were doing. And did you hurt yourself bad? And what was that like?
It's like wrestling, and I hurt myself plenty of times. Yeah. But that's kind of what makes it fun. It's risky. There's no safe bets. Definitely not in wrestling. Definitely not in this movie. And the hill fall, for example, was a good example of something that I had a ton of fun doing. That was we didn't have time to shoot it on the location, that expensive like Mexican bar location. So we went out to Burbank with just me and a camera guy and a couple of close friends and some crash pads, and just climbed up cliffs and jumped off the rocks onto the pads for like 6 hours until a ranger came by and asked us to.
Guerrilla style.
Yeah, exactly. It asked us to get out of there. But that's one of the benefits of doing something like this, where if I'm the actor and we have the camera crew, I mean really the camera crew for that was just my buddy Brady with a camera, and he had some mats. We have the option of, instead of going through production where you've got 30 or 40 people all involved and everyone then needs food and has to be on pay sheets and it's complicated. You have the option on a film like this of just going out with a skeleton crew and trying to make something really awesome on your own time.
Any other questions? He's closer.
Okay, so I saw that you did like most of your stunts yourself. Is there any like one that you needed a stunt double for?
There's 2 shots in the movie that we used a stunt double for. Both times the necessity came out of that stupid Mexican bar location was so expensive that we only had it for 2 days. And I was inside the bar at one point, and they were shooting some stuff outside with a stunt double at the same time, so we could maximize the time. And I was kind of bummed because I really wanted to do every single stunt in the movie. But there's 2 things that I did not do. And did you notice which ones they were?
Down the hill, right?
There's 2 shots down the hill that was a stunt double, and it was a guy named Antal, super talented guy, and I was really bummed that I couldn't do that. But I would say 80-90% of the hill fall was me on a separate location on a different day.
Hey, thanks so much again for coming out to Seattle to do something like this. So props for coming out here.
Good question.
If you could take yourself back to when you were doing burpees on Tough Enough in front of John Gaboric, and were you at that time like thinking, you know, big picture, like did you ever picture yourself doing something like this, or was this something as you progressed through your pro wrestling career that you wanted to conquer bigger goals and stuff like this?
Even at that time, you're talking about the like Tough Enough 3 or trying out for Tough Enough 2. I was a film major at UC Davis before I started wrestling, and I made a bunch of action shorts. The Foot of Death I made is like about a dude with a dangerous foot, and a movie called Kung Fu, like a kung fu master at a fast food restaurant. I wrote, directed. Those haven't aged well. I have them on VHS in my basement.
I have a VHS to DVD transfer thing. We can put it on YouTube.
Well, we'll see. Maybe next time we come up.
And John's never coming back.
No joke. I'll come back. But like I said, they're not as good as Boone. So it's been something that the first thing I said when I got up before too is I grew up in pro wrestling and action movies, and movies like Bloodsport and Die Hard. Yeah. All the Jackie Chan movies, Rumble in the Bronx, Predator, Terminator, Rocky, Rambo. I watched those movies over and over again as a kid, And just like I watched Shawn Michaels and Macho Man and the Bushwhackers, and I knew that I wanted to do something with that. And there's a lot of crossover between action movies and pro wrestling. So even back in the day, I was dreaming of stuff like this.
It's funny you bring it up because there was a definite 80s action film feel to the movie in that it was fun, it was full of great scenes, and if you could cast like one of the 80s action stars to be Boone, who would you cast?
That's a tough one. Maybe Kurt Russell, like Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. He would have been a badass Boone.
Boone's father, yes.
The Boone Father. It's a sequel.
The Boone father.
Write that down.
With such an open ending and possibility of maybe a second one, who would you cast as the main villain for a second one?
Roman Reigns.
I mean, if we cast Roman Reigns, it wouldn't be a feature-length movie. It might be more like a webisode.
Believe that.
You know, that's tough because there's like your dream ideas of who you would cast, like maybe someone like Donnie Yen. Man, a villain. There's so many good movie villains. Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme. Like somebody like that would be a really cool main bad guy, but it would also be cool to have someone like that be on Boone's team.
How would you go against Jet Li? Or
Jet Li now? I just boon him.
And I'm looking forward to tomorrow at DEFY. If anyone's not going, make sure you get your tickets at DEFY Wrestling.
Let's take a moment right now to bring Taya down to the stage. Taya! Is everyone here coming to DEFY tomorrow night?
It's not 21 plus, even though this kid's fucking awesome. He's only 20, I'm just saying.
You don't know the fake ID? This is Seattle, come on.
Get a fake ID, man.
Wait a minute, this is being recorded. Don't do that. How else are you gonna watch me take Shane to Slamtown if you don't have a fake ID? Boone's house!
I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna kick your ass if you
Let's open this up to any questions about tomorrow for me or for Taya. Yeah, where your streamers at?
So
Tomorrow.
So I was wondering, I wonder if do you often get the chance to wrestle for promotions that are as new as DEFY is? Because it's very young and it's new in Seattle wrestling. Seattle wrestling itself is new. Do you often get exposed to such a new thing like that?
There's one of the cool things about independent wrestling right now is it's so hot that there's a ton of new promotions, although I will say that most of the time a new promotion is not nearly as organized or as well put together as DEFY. This promotion that you guys have here is a little bit of an anomaly in the world of professional wrestling. From what? Huh? It's still wrestling. Come on, let's not be crazy. But the stuff that I've heard about this promotion from guys like Leo Rush, from Jeff Cobb, from people that work here, has just been nothing about how great the place is, and especially obviously Swerve Shane has told me on and on, over and over again about how great DEFY is. Although he did say, I mean, you remember Shane saying this about how much he does not like the people in Seattle. Okay, he didn't say that.
Like, wasn't he born here and then he moved away? I don't know, I think that's someone find that out for me, but I think that's the truth, I'm sorry. So technically, I lived on the Pacific Northwest for way longer than Shane Strickland did, so.
About doing independent shows, I mean, obviously, thank you for saying such great things about DEFY, but what have been some of the odder experiences that when you first show up, for both of you, where you're like, what did I get myself into? Because I remember when I talked with Matt Cross, and he said wrestling at a prison was probably one of the more surreal and weird things he's ever done.
Mexico in general.
Okay, yes. Taya can speak on that.
Oh man. Well, in the States, honestly, I've been pretty lucky. I've really worked for some of the best companies, and obviously this is my first time back up here, you know, where I'm from Victoria, BC, so I'm across the water from you guys. So this is really cool for me to be back here in professional wrestling in front of all of you, even though tomorrow you'll probably hate me. It's okay. But no, honestly, in Mexico, I remember, like, especially the first few months that I was there, because I really had no idea what I was walking myself in, like, what I'm getting myself into, and I didn't speak Spanish. I was by myself. Let's just say there were times when you were no change rooms, no electricity, no mirrors, no bathrooms, changing in the car before you literally have no time to prepare, and you go in the ring and the girls are calling the match in Spanish and you have no idea what's going on, but somehow, I'm the 2-time champ, bitches. So it worked out. It was really hard. So you have really negative experiences, but also awesome experiences, and one of them is also being here with you guys, so thank you so much for coming out here and supporting him in his movie. And we can't wait to see you guys tomorrow night as well.
Let's see, I've been working in Mexico quite a bit too, but as far as stuff in the United States goes, that's really weird. The Gathering of the Juggalos. You walk out there, you get covered in Fanta. Although I did have a really cool moment at the Gathering. After the match was over, it was a triple threat. I was standing up, had my hand up on the top rope, and out of my periph, I caught somebody like just about to chuck a can of Fanta at me, and I'm kind of uncoordinated. It's weird. Most people think I'm really, really athletic, but I'm good at parkour and wrestling moves, but baseball and basketball not the greatest. But somehow, out of my periph, I saw this Fanta flying at my face, and I just palmed it and caught it, and turned back and nailed the guy that I thought threw it. It wasn't him, actually. But I nailed someone in the face with that Fanta, and the crowd blew up, and I got out of there. I don't know. It's on tape somewhere. They recorded the whole thing.
Who are your least favorite people to wrestle?
Come on. We're just going to bury people. Let's see. Do you want to take that one first?
Your opponents tomorrow.
Let's see. Least favorite people to wrestle. Yeah, where's Swerve at? Been cut a big promo on Swerve, but that wouldn't be true because he's awesome. Everybody knows that. I love wrestling Shane. The thing I like most though about wrestling Strickland is I always beat him. Which is why I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Are you guys looking forward to next week is the return of Lucha Underground, which is...
Fuck yeah!
I know I'm excited. That has to be just what a trip for you guys. I mean, getting into it, not knowing what it was going to be like, and obviously the reaction from all of us that we love it. But when you first signed on, you had no idea what it was going to be like, and it's definitely a different vibe than what we are used to when it comes to professional wrestling. So congrats to you guys. It's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to next week.
A lot of people talk about the evolution of wrestling, and I think Lucha Underground is a prime example of where the business could be going. A hybrid of wrestling and gritty action movies with backstage vignettes that are shot like a movie or a TV show with a faster-paced, more hard-hitting style of wrestling. And if you look at what's happening in Lucha Underground and at promotions like DEFY and compare that with the product that you see on WWE television, I think you've got fast-paced, hard-hitting, high-flying action being put on by some of the most talented performers in the world with places like this versus a lot of people who are phoning it in a little bit, who are sometimes capable of much more than they're allowed to do with WWE.
And I think for me, as a woman on the show, you know, one of like 4 or 5 women on the show, we are the true women's revolution, let's be honest. I think we are in a position where we are put exactly on par with all the men. We can fight any one of them. We are not women and men. We are all warriors, and we are there to demonstrate why we're the best and why we're the best in the world. That locker room, literally, man, there is nothing comparable to that. So I'm so happy that it's coming back for the second half of season 3. Finally! I mean, we've been waiting for this for so long. We work on this and we give it like all our heart and our soul, and so we're just so happy for all of you guys to get to watch it. And yeah, I guess let us all know on social media what you think when it comes back, for sure.
I'm glad we're on the same side.
Quick question, because you love acting and obviously love directing and being an actor. So wrestling is like half, acting, telling stories, the other half is physical. But in the indie scene, you really don't have that ability because you're going around different places. You're not going to, hey, this could be your only DEFY show ever. Do you ever miss the story part of wrestling? Really, that goes for both of you. Like, so when you go to indie, you go in, though you guys put on great performances, you ever just miss the story?
I would I'd differentiate a couple things in your question. First of all, the story part of wrestling, there's longer angles that I think you're talking about, like when you're programmed with someone for weeks or months that build up and different things happen. But to me, every match is a story. Every match should have its own beginning, middle, and end. And if you have a longer thing, then you have an overarching story, but every match should be its own self-contained story. And no, you know what? I just look at it differently. I really enjoy the type of experience that you get with a company like DEFY because it's its own self-contained thing, and it could turn into more, or it could turn into less, depending on how tomorrow goes. I mean, who knows? You guys could boo me and tell everyone that you don't ever want to see Johnny Mundo again, or what's that? He was just going like this, yeah. Streamer Club, come on, guys, you guys are baby faces. Or it could be the opposite, and I could end up coming back every month. So, thank you.
I was gonna just say, you guys are such rock stars in the sense that, I can be exposed to your body of work just as much as, a WWE wrestler's body of work because of the age we live in with social media. What do the two of you notice about independent wrestling now and the crowds that you're going to versus maybe just 2 or 3 years ago when you didn't have this kind of boom with social media?
Well, for me, because I just moved to the States about 6-7 months ago, so it was the first time back in September when I was constantly starting to be on the American Indies, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was scared, to be honest, because of being in AAA all this time and stuff. I was worried that people might not know who I am. Doesn't matter that I was on Lucha Underground, but we're living in such an age right now with indie wrestling and with social media, like you said, that I was so happy by the way that people reacted to it. It's such a huge part of what we do, and so many people come up to me and talk to me about things and matches that I had 4 years ago and things that I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's awesome, you know what I mean? And I'm just so happy. And contributing to what your question was, every time we go to a different indie show, I think it's so cool because Taya gets to touch all these different people and not just what you see in the temple. I get to present myself in front of all of you, no matter if there is a long-going storyline or not. I'm here to entertain you guys, and that's just what makes me love what we do, you know what I mean? And social media has just allowed so many more people all over the world to see who Taya is or who Johnny Mundo is and what Lucha Underground and AAA is about. So, I embrace it with open arms, and I'm just so happy that you guys are able to access us that much more easily and see and watch us grow as entertainers as well.
I have a question for you guys. As I've gotten more involved with the independent wrestling scene and working with DEFY Wrestling, getting to see you guys and what amazing stuff you do, not only just in the ring, but watching what's going on behind the curtain. I find great inspiration as a radio guy that we rely on doing a lot of improvisational stuff on the air. And I look to you guys as a gigantic form of inspiration because it's incredible to see the improvisation not only on a microphone, but in the ring to behind the scenes. What about for you guys? Who do you find great inspiration in?
Oh man, let's see. From a movie acting standpoint, physically, if Jackie Chan, and he was inspired by guys like Buster Keaton. And when you talk about physical improvisation, that's kind of what's happening a lot of times in a good wrestling match. It's not like a movie where you've got a choreographed fight scene. It's using the energy from the people watching, the weird stuff that happens in the ring, because weird stuff always happens, it's unexpected, and making everything its own unique experience, and that only happens with physical improvisation. As far as wrestling observation, we don't have time to name all the talented and great wrestlers. I was gonna say that. Because we're standing right here. But the Macho Man's HBK, like Road Warriors, from Rock to Hogan to Stone Cold Steve Austin to the guys that are on the road right now. I think everyone inspires people in their own way because everyone leaves their own mark in the industry. But the person that I wake up to and get inspired from every morning,
Standing right here.
That's a good save.
How about for you, Taya?
I mean, I get inspiration from everything. I mean, before I was a pro wrestler, I was a ballerina, and I was in fitness competition, and I've always been an artist, and a singer, and a dancer, and a performer. So I mean, I think that all parts of my life have contributed to who Taya is now. Right now, character-wise, like I love the horrible female villains that are coming out on TV, and I just think that I just try to take in little parts of everyone's characters or even like people in music that I enjoy, you know what I mean? I think that inspiration is everywhere. It doesn't have to be just from wrestling. It can literally be from a book, it can be from a movie, it can be from, something you see or a theater production or something. I just think that wrestling is art and, we get inspiration from everything. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, who I watched growing up. I mean, I watched wrestling when I was in high school. I wasn't really allowed to watch it when I was little, so for me it was Lita and the Trish Stratus's because she's Canadian too. So, but I mean, I love The Rock, I love Stone Cold. I got the honor of working with Roddy Piper, who taught me how to be a real heel. So I think that every part of Taya comes from a different part of my life. So I think that, that's just inspirational in that part. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys, and Boone the Bounty Hunter is available to be purchased also. Where can people buy it?
Boone the Bounty Hunter is available right now on VOD, Amazon, iTunes, Vudu, Vimeo, Google Play, and Xbox. It's also on the little cable box on your TV. Before we go, I'll say movies like this can benefit a lot from people like you by you giving reviews to it on all those sites, telling people that you really liked the movie. If you didn't like the movie, by you not saying anything like that, that'd be nice. Wow. But this independent filmmaking really depends on the support of people like you who come out to screenings and spread the word. So if you did like the movie, I would really appreciate reviews and spreading the word and telling everyone to go Boone themselves.
Well, thank you guys. A quick thank you also to Jim and Matt from DEFY Wrestling as well for putting this all together. Also, Kevin, Hero, Briggsy, they all helped out in setting this all up. I believe there's going to be some t-shirts for sale. For anyone that didn't get a free
t-shirt. For anybody that didn't get a t-shirt, we're going to have the t-shirts up front. They're $10 today. Tomorrow at the show, they're going to be $20 each. So if you want one, get one now or buy a bunch for your friends. And until tomorrow, I will see you guys at DEFY Wrestling. Ty, you got anything to say?
Just thank you for all of you to be here and support John in this project that means so much to him. It means a lot to me too, obviously, and I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow at DEFY.
Thank you guys. Thank you for making this a great experience, and thank you to Central Cinema for making it happen as well. John and Taya, one more time.